Welcome to the Metals Investment Forum. We are here with Stuhini Exploration, who is a pure play of moly, which is a very rare metal on Earth and having a great run so far this year and having a little bit pullback lately, but still market is very tight. So I have here Dave O'Brien. Welcome, Dave.
Thanks, Chen. Pleasure to be here.
All right, great. The moly is having a crazy run this year. Can you tell us what's going on? Why it went up so much?
Well, we don't know. We've been looking at that a lot. It appears that there was some shortages, some port issues in South America. As you might be aware, 80% of the world's moly is byproduct from copper, and the copper operations in South America are struggling. Freeport McMoran, which is the world's largest molybdenum producer, half of their production is copper byproduct and half is pure play with the Climax. They commented that it's a very tight market. And just when it ports down, a 2-week disruption in supply would send the price skyrocketing. So, and what we're happy is that it's now settling in new highs. It's breached. And when we first got the project, moly was $6 or $8 a pound. We're very happy that it's over $20 now.
Right. So it shoot up and then pull back, but still seems start coming back again.
Yeah, I mean, it was sitting at $16, $18. The resistance was 20. Now it's settling in around 21.50. So it's good. Technically, it's really important. It certainly got ahead of itself. We took advantage. There was strong investor interest, and now we have a kitty full of hard dollars, right? We have over 2.9 million hard dollars right now. So.
Wow, great. So tell us your project and what's your plan with it?
Well, our project's the old Adnac molybdenum project, and we hired a couple of years ago. We hired Stephen Ricciardelli of MDA, and we did a resource update, and we have a 433 million pound resource, and that's just a measured and indicated pit constrained resource. It's not a global resource. Some of the best holes are outside of the moly pit. So, we'd like to analyze the economics, but, we hired some very, very professional people, and they feel that we really have to come out of the gates with the 30,000 ton a day, which is expensive CapEx. I mean, so many of these projects right now, people don't realize how much more expensive it is, not just CapEx, but OpEx. But one of our holes, 8417, bottomed out in 46 meters of 0.23, and 0.23 is right up there with Henderson. Zijin did a big transaction in China. They bought a big project, overall grade of 0.13, and I have a hole of 45 meters of 0.23 just along the edge of the pit. Oh, so if we could get a high grade feed underground, we could possibly start off a lot less CapEx and then sort of get some cash flow going and move. So we have to explore those different sensitivity analysis and look at the project. And in the meantime, we have several other projects, and we're working hard behind the scenes on everything. So I think you'll see news on several fronts, but moly is our main focus, of course.
Okay. Yeah. So for junior, you're the only play. You're the pure play of moly.
There's a few other out there. There's Greenland Resources, and what's interesting, we kind of view there's 4 sort of world-class pure play projects out there. There's Malberg in Greenland, and Greenland's remote, but it's an amazing project to have. And you have Mount Hope and Kitsault, which are held by a private entity called New Moly LLC. In Kitsault, I believe the Koreans are offside by $200 million, probably not in Kitsault, on Mount Hope. So, but they're going to go public too. And I think that'll really help us because their valuations are so much higher than ours. When people look at us, we'll be so, and again, out of all the projects out there, ours is the only one that actually advanced right into construction during the last cycle. Yeah. I had someone today I was talking to, he says, I might be able to help you find a plan to get a bulk sample done. The bulk sample's been done. The metallurgy's been done. It's all been, the road's been built, right? It's very advanced.
Shovel ready.
Yeah. And you literally can start digging tomorrow if you look at where it is.
Yeah. Can you tell us the valuation gap between you and other moly companies?
Well, again, the competitor of ours, the only other one out there that's listed right now that's got a notable project is Greenland Resources, and their market cap is probably 3 or 4 times that of ours right now. But again, all the base metals are under pressure these days. Investors aren't using their head. I think that it's an amazing opportunity if you're a longer term investor to buy these projects so cheap. I mean, Larry Rea had a market cap of $300 million at one point and an $800 million facility when they were building it. And we're sitting at a $12 million market cap with $3 million in the bank. So a $9 million enterprise value. It's not expensive.
Yeah, that's crazy how the market is. So for the long-term investor, new to your story, what do you want to tell them?
Well, I want to tell them that we're very careful with the dollars. I've run a very successful private business in the past. My salary is very, very low. We're a very low-paid executive team. The money raised goes into the ground, and we'll guard their money and treasure it and spend it wisely and add value. Right now, I really want to go and tell our story because people don't really know about us, and now we have money in the bank. I don't have to do any fundraising, but it's time that, we told $1 million our last financing went to U.S. investors, and they're not blown up like Canadian investors, and they're curious, and they see inflation. They're trying to buy hard assets, and if you look at the entire hard asset space, outside of gold and silver, which is a completely different story, there's nothing's more attractive than metals, and we need these metals so badly. And there's a big disconnect between future needs and the fact that most juniors can't even raise money right now.
Oh, you were very fortunate. You raised money before the recent market collapse, and then you got Eric Sprott.
Yeah, Eric's bought 5 or 6 financings. Eric's been a very loyal investor. He's an insider, and it's fantastic to have Eric's support. We're blessed.
Can you tell us your share structure? What the percentage Eric owns and other people?
We have 44.5 million shares outstanding right now, with 37.2% insider, and Eric's about 12.5% of that group. There's also a group of, in my fly fishing business, a group of long-time people I've known for 20 and 30 years that I see the subscription forms when people send them in, and a lot of they're very tightly held. So our float's not that big. And most of our investors are there for the long haul, and we believe we'll be able to. We're a small little junior miner, and generally sell these projects, and we believe that the time will come, and hopefully even Sino-Canadian relations will improve. They're very bad right now. But I truly believe if Chinese-Canadian relationships were better, we probably would have already sold the project. And people often say, whatever you do, don't sell the Chinese, but they're the smart ones buying these projects. Right? They're the ones that want them. And Joe Biden says that we want to build North American, but they're not letting any mines even get permitted right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's truly crazy. Yeah, the Mali situation, very, very interesting. And then you mentioned that a little bit. You mentioned you're probably going to try to sell the company at a certain stage to a bigger mining company?
Anytime you develop a porphyry project, unless you've got a several $100 million market cap, it's pretty tough for a junior to build a porphyry. And generally what the juniors do is, we can pretend and tell everybody we're going to go ahead and build a mine, but generally you sell them to the big boys. And it's interesting. For example, Zijin bought a molybdenum mine in China. They're not in the molybdenum space. They're a gold and copper company that suddenly bought a massive molybdenum project and said molybdenum's the metal of the future. And what's really interesting about molybdenum itself, it's got very unique alloying properties, nothing like it. And the amount of experimenting for even non-steel type uses of molybdenum is quite fascinating. So it looks like a very good demand curve going forward, and a lot of new products. So.
Well, tell us what kind of new demand and new product for moly.
Well, for example, in the battery space, the experiments they're doing right now, it's not happening right now, but the experiments they're doing up to 4 times the capacity using moly graphene anodes, also dipping the entire battery in molybdenum. There's reasons for it. People can research these things. And I don't want to hang my hat on what might happen. Right now, the main demand is the wind turbines, the gearboxes. I believe they use 130 kilograms of molybdenum per megawatt of power, because they need to withstand the elements in the last 25 years. I was talking to Dr. Harry Marbacher in Germany. He was a very interesting fella. He was saying some of the European wind turbines, they didn't use the moly, and within 3 years they were falling apart. He says the cranes alone to reach them have a lot of molybdenum, because when you think of molybdenum, you think of lightning of steel, right? And also, America wants to rebuild their bridges, and moly is very, you want to lighten steel. Bridges are very moly intensive, and also geothermal. It's the International Moly Association. Right now, we have 630 million pound a year market. This would be £1 billion by 2050. Even our project at 433 million pounds, it's only enough for the planet for 4 or 5 months. It's not like we're going to solve all the world's moly problems. And there's only a handful of these out there.
Yeah.
A lot of these other projects, people are marketing them, but they're not pure play. They're a more complex granite, have a bit of copper. You can't recover the copper in the moly. Unless you have the grades. It's quite interesting, and you have to be careful. And we have a very unique, if people look at Climax and what a Climax style deposit is, ours is the exact same type of granite. It's very, very unusual. It's very simple metallurgy and high recovery rates, very shallow deposit. And again, people can criticize our project, but it is the only one that actually financed its construction during the last cycle. I think there's a reason for that.
Excellent. All right, great. Looking forward to hear good news, more good news.
Yeah, we'll have lots of news flow coming soon. We're working hard behind the scenes, and I really appreciate your support as well. I'm very honored to work with you all the time.
Thank you
so much.